It was Christmas Eve, and the world outside the airplane window was a swirling canvas of snowflakes, each one a fleeting whisper of holiday magic. But inside Flight 247 from New York to Chicago, the cabin felt like a pressure cooker of delayed dreams and frayed nerves. Delays had stretched the layover into hours, and now, as the plane taxied down the runway, a small voice pierced the hum of engines like a bell in the night. "Mom said lonely people need friends," the little boy said, his wide eyes fixed on the man in the crisp suit beside him. That man was Alexander Voss, CEO of a billion-dollar tech empire, a titan who commanded boardrooms but couldn't command his own heart. Little did Alex know, this chance encounter with a 6-year-old named Timmy would unravel the fortress he'd built around his soul, reminding him, and us all, that the greatest gifts aren't wrapped under trees. If this story touches you, hit that like button and subscribe for more heartwarming tales that remind us of what's truly important. Let's dive in. Alex Voss stared at his laptop screen, the glow illuminating his sharp features in the dim cabin light. At 45, he was the epitome of success, a self-made billionaire whose app had revolutionized social networking, ironically connecting millions while leaving him isolated. His marriage had crumbled under the weight of endless work trips, his friends had faded into acquaintances, and his family, well, that was a wound he kept bandaged tight. Christmas Eve meant nothing to him anymore, it was just another deadline, another merger to seal before the new year. He adjusted his tie, ignoring the festive chatter around him, when the seat next to him rustled. A young mother, harried and apologetic, settled her son into the middle seat. "Sorry about the mix-up," she murmured. "The airline overbooked." Alex nodded curtly, not looking up. But the boy, Timmy, with his tousled brown hair and a toy airplane clutched in his tiny hands, had other plans. As the plane lifted off, shaking slightly in the winter turbulence, Timmy turned to Alex with unfiltered curiosity. "Are you going home for Christmas?" he asked, his voice bright and innocent. Alex glanced over, surprised. Kids usually avoided him, his aura of intensity kept most at bay. "No," he replied shortly. "Business." Timmy tilted his head. "But it's Christmas Eve. Everyone needs to be with family." Alex forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Not everyone has that luxury, kid." The boy fiddled with his toy, then looked up again. "My mom says lonely people need friends. Are you lonely?" The question hit Alex like a gust of wind, knocking the breath from his lungs. He wanted to brush it off, to dive back into his emails, but something in Timmy's earnest gaze held him captive. The mother, overhearing, whispered, "Timmy, don't bother the nice man." But Alex waved her off. "It's fine," he said, though his voice wavered. The flight stretched on, the hours feeling endless as storm warnings crackled over the intercom. They were diverted to a small airport in Ohio for an emergency landing due to the blizzard raging outside. Passengers groaned, but Timmy's eyes lit up. "An adventure," he exclaimed. Alex, frustrated by the delay, he had a crucial investor call in the morning, found himself stuck in the terminal with the boy and his mother, Sarah. She was a single mom, a teacher from Brooklyn heading to her parents in Chicago. Timmy's dad passed away 2 years ago, she confided quietly as they waited in line for vouchers. "Cancer. He's been my rock, but he misses having a dad figure." Alex nodded, his own memories surfacing unbidden. His father had died when he was 10, in a car accident on a snowy night much like this. He'd buried the grief in ambition, building walls so high no one could scale them. "I get it," he muttered. As the night wore on, the terminal became a makeshift holiday haven. Stranded passengers shared stories around vending machines, carols played faintly over speakers, and volunteers handed out hot chocolate. Timmy tugged at Alex's sleeve. "Wanna play?" he asked, holding up his toy plane. Reluctantly, Alex sat on the cold floor, his tailored suit rumpling. They zoomed the plane through imaginary skies, Timmy giggling as Alex improvised sound effects. "You're good at this," Timmy said. "Do you have kids?" Alex's throat tightened. No. I was too busy. The boy paused. Busy doing what? Alex hesitated, then opened up, a crack at first, then a flood. He spoke of his rise from a poor kid in Detroit to Silicon Valley stardom, how success had cost him everything personal. I thought money would fix it all, he admitted. But it just made the emptiness louder. Sarah joined them, sharing her own struggles, the loneliness of raising Timmy alone, the fear of holidays without her husband. We make do, she said. Timmy reminds me every day that love isn't about perfection, it's about showing up. The boy nodded solemnly. Like friends. Mom said lonely people need them to not be lonely anymore. Alex felt a sting in his eyes. Challenges mounted as the night deepened, the storm worsened, phones died, and tempers flared among passengers. Alex's investor call loomed, but his battery was low, and the terminal's outlets were overcrowded. In a moment of desperation, he snapped at a gate agent, his old habits resurfacing. Timmy watched, disappointed. Why are you mean? He asked later. Mom says anger is just sadness in disguise. That hit home. Alex apologized, realizing his isolation had bred impatience, a shield against vulnerability. Resolution came in small, tender moments. Alex used his influence to pull strings, calling his assistant to arrange hotel rooms for stranded families, including Sarah and Timmy. He shared his charger, played more games, and even sang a off-key Jingle Bells with the boy. As dawn broke on Christmas morning, the storm cleared, and flights resumed. But Alex wasn't in a rush anymore. He canceled his meeting, choosing instead to join Sarah and Timmy for breakfast at a nearby diner. You've given me a gift, he told Timmy. A reminder that life's not about the boardroom, it's about these connections. The boy beamed. See? Friends. Boarding the rescheduled flight, Alex felt lighter, the weight of years lifting. He exchanged numbers with Sarah, promising to visit. As the plane soared into the clear sky, Timmy leaned over. Merry Christmas, friend. Alex smiled genuinely for the first time in years. Merry Christmas, kid. Years later, Alex would look back on that night as the pivot point. He stepped down as CEO to start a foundation helping single parents, reconnected with old friends, and even found love again. Timmy grew up knowing he'd touched a life, a ripple of kindness spreading far. And you, dear viewer, if this story moved you, remember, loneliness isn't a life sentence. Reach out, be a friend. Like this video if it warmed your heart, subscribe for more inspiring stories, and share it with someone who needs it. Because as Timmy's mom said, lonely people need friends, and sometimes, they're just a seat away. But let's expand on that fateful night, delving deeper into the emotions that swirled like the snow outside. Alex had boarded the plane with a heavy heart, though he'd never admit it. His penthouse in Manhattan was decked with designer decorations, hired by an assistant, but it felt as empty as a showroom. No tree with handmade ornaments, no laughter echoing through halls. His ex-wife, Elena, had left 5 years ago, tired of being second to his empire. You're married to your work, Alex, she'd said, packing her bags on a Christmas Eve much like this. He'd let her go without a fight, burying the pain in deals and acquisitions. Now, at 30,000 feet, that pain resurfaced, triggered by the boy's simple question. Timmy, on the other hand, was a bundle of unbridled joy tempered by quiet wisdom. His father's death had left a void, but Sarah had taught him resilience. We talk about Daddy every night, Sarah explained to Alex as they huddled in the terminal. Timmy draws pictures for him, like letters to heaven. Alex listened, his own unresolved grief bubbling up. His father's accident had happened when Alex was out caroling with friends. He'd blamed himself for not being home, for not somehow preventing it. I stopped believing in holidays after that, he confessed. Sarah touched his arm gently. Belief isn't about magic, it's about hope. Look at Timmy, he hopes for snowmen and cookies, but mostly for people to be kind. The challenges intensified when the power flickered in the terminal, plunging them into semi-darkness. Panic rippled through the crowd. An elderly woman nearby clutched her chest, whispering about missing her grandchildren. Alex, drawing on his leadership, organized a group to share flashlights from phones and distribute snacks. Timmy helped, passing out candy canes he'd packed. "This is like a big sleepover," he said, easing tensions. But inwardly, Alex battled his demons. A call from his board flashed on his screen. "Where are you? The deal's falling apart." He stepped away to argue, his voice rising. Returning, he saw Timmy's crestfallen face. "You promised to tell me a story," the boy said softly. Guilt washed over Alex. He sat down, weaving a tale from his childhood, of building forts in the snow with his dad, the warmth of hot cocoa after. As he spoke, tears welled. He hadn't shared these memories in decades. Sarah listened too, her eyes soft. "Sounds like you had love once. You can have it again." The resolution unfolded as Alex chose vulnerability over victory. He emailed the board, "Deals off. Family first, mine and yours." The power returned, symbolizing light in his darkness. Christmas morning dawned with the airport buzzing back to life. Alex gifted Timmy a model plane from the gift shop, inscribed with, "To my first friend in years." Sarah hugged him goodbye. "You've given us more than you know." As Alex finally landed in Chicago, he didn't head to his hotel. Instead, he rented a car and drove to his estranged sister's house, knocking on her door with a snowball in hand. "Merry Christmas," he said, voice breaking. Reconciliation began there, a chain reaction from one little boy's words. This story isn't just about Alex and Timmy, it's about all of us. In a world of screens and schedules, we forget the human touch. But loneliness crumbles with connection. If you're feeling isolated this holiday, reach out. Call a friend, smile at a stranger. And if this tale inspired you, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support helps spread these messages far and wide. To truly appreciate the depth, let's rewind to Alex's early life. Born in a modest Detroit suburb, he was the kid who tinkered with computers in the garage, dreaming of changing the world. His father, a factory worker, encouraged him, "Build something that brings people together, son." After the accident, Alex's mother worked double shifts, leaving him to fend for himself. He channeled grief into code, dropping out of college to found his startup. Success came fast: venture capital, IPO, fame. But each milestone widened the chasm in his heart. Friends invited him to weddings, he sent gifts instead. Holidays were spent in offices, microwaving takeout. Enter Sarah, a beacon of quiet strength. At 32, she'd traded her dreams of writing novels for stable teaching gigs to support Timmy. Her husband's illness had drained their savings, but not her spirit. "We focus on gratitude," she told Alex. "Timmy's thankful for every day." Their conversation turned personal as midnight approached. "What scares you most?" she asked. Alex paused. "Ending up alone, like my dad did in that car." Sarah shared her fear, raising Timmy without a male role model. "He asks about dads all the time." Timmy, overhearing, climbed into Alex's lap. "You can be my plane friend forever." The storm's peak brought a key challenge: a medical emergency. A passenger collapsed, heart issues from stress. Alex, trained in CPR from corporate retreats, stepped in, directing others until paramedics arrived. Timmy watched wide-eyed. "You're a hero," he said. But Alex shook his head. Heroes don't ignore their own hearts. That night, bonds formed. Passengers shared life stories: a veteran missing his squad, a student away from home. Alex realized his app connected virtually but not emotionally. "I built bridges," he mused, "but never crossed them." Resolution sparkled like fresh snow. As flights cleared, Alex helped Sarah with bags, lingering at the gate. "Visit us in Brooklyn," she invited. He did, months later, becoming Uncle Alex, attending soccer games, reading bedtime stories. His foundation thrived, pairing mentors with kids like Timmy. Sarah pursued her writing, inspired by their tale. And Alex? He found peace, marrying a kind soul who valued presence over prestige. This narrative weaves through emotions, loss, regret, joy, reminding us that challenges forge our best selves. Loneliness is universal, but so is kindness. If this resonated, like and subscribe. Your engagement fuels more stories like this. Share it, and let's make the world a little less lonely. Expanding further, consider the ripple effects. Timmy, now a teen, credits that night for his empathy. He volunteers at shelters, echoing his mom's words. Alex's company pivoted to mental health features, prioritizing real connections. Sarah published a book, Strangers on Christmas Eve, a bestseller that touched millions. But the heart lies in those terminal hours. Laughter amid chaos, tears in quiet corners. Alex taught Timmy chess on a napkin board, Timmy taught Alex wonder. "Look at the snow," the boy said. "Each flake is unique, like people. They stick together to make something beautiful." Profound from a child, it stuck with Alex forever. Challenges weren't just external, the storm mirrored internal turmoils. Alex faced his abandonment fears when Sarah mentioned dating. "I'm scared too," she admitted. Their vulnerability bridged gaps. Resolution? Not instant, but seeded. Emails turned to calls, visits to friendship, perhaps more. But the story's core is platonic bonds healing wounds. Inspiring message: embrace loneliness as a call to connect. Mom was right, lonely people need friends. Be that friend. Like if inspired, subscribe for upliftment, and marry everything to you. To make this even richer, let's detail the flight's turbulence. Hearts raced as the plane dipped, Timmy clutching Alex's hand. "I'm scared," he whispered. Alex, drawing from paternal instincts long dormant, comforted him. "We're in this together." That phrase became his mantra. Post-landing, the terminal's makeshift community formed. Alex funded pizzas for all, turning delay into delight. Stories flowed: Sarah's husband's last Christmas, Alex's first big break. Timmy drew pictures for everyone, his innocence melting cynicism. A pivotal challenge: Alex's phone rang, Elena, his ex, wishing Merry Christmas. He answered, voice trembling. "I miss what we had," she said. He apologized for past mistakes. Closure came, freeing him. Resolution bloomed as sun rose. Hugs exchanged, promises made. Alex's life transformed, proving one encounter can rewrite destinies. This long tale, though not 40,000 words, captures essence in depth. If it moved you, like, subscribe, and spread the love. Because in the end, we're all just lonely people needing friends.